right. Well,
Shit, I wish I had something to drink.
oh yeah. I just went to Costco and got this whole thing of Sapporos. Yeah, it's pretty good.
What is that?
Sapporo, you know, it's a
That
Japanese like
oh, it's a
rice
beer.
beer. Yeah.
Mhm. That sounds good.
I mean, honestly, I wish it was just a seltzer water, but this is what I got in the fridge. It's cold. So.
Spritzer. Well, yeah. Usually, if people are gonna show up, it usually takes a few minutes too. But I mean, we can just start talking.
Yeah, so no one's here right
You can't see anything.
now. I can see. Hold on, I can see some stats up here. It says there's like the people, the little person.
0 and 0.
Yeah, 0 likes.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, cool.
Well, dude, yeah, because we've never really, I mean, we've talked about Disney Star Wars a little bit, but I know, I mean, obviously the OG trilogy, that's like king as far as Star Wars go. I think we both agree on that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the best. It's
But
yeah.
yeah, so I don't really know what your thoughts on are the prequels. So I was kind of curious about that.
Yeah, I think I like the prequels less than I like the new trilogy, even, which is
Really
I don't know if that's a hot take or not. I
interesting.
I think yeah, yeah. I'm pretty firm in that opinion actually because I feel like somehow even though the new trilogy is farther away from the original trilogy, I think that or I guess it's further away in time. I feel like it's closer in like they made it kind of
Vibe.
it melds with the original trilogy more. It looks like the original trilogy more.
Yeah.
It feels like the original trilogy more, and I think that like in the prequel trilogy, it really kind of feels like separate from everything else, and not in a good way for me. Like, yeah, it's just it's kind of cringy to me. It's just it reminds me of when like I stopped caring about Star Wars, you know, until like you know, yeah, for me it marked a big sort of moment in time where I just kind of like I was with it for episode 1, I think, and it was one of those things where I guess the wool was over my eyes because I was such a fan, but I think there was a part of me that was just kind of like this is not like I mean I guess cheers to them for being original,
Right.
for George Lucas for being original and everything, but and not just rehashing the same thing. I know that like that's kind of a big thing that people bring up all the time is like people need to be original and not just make a reboot or whatever. But I think that it was too much of a culture shock, just different, and the characters they weren't as relatable in the prequel trilogy to me. So yeah, I think that is last for me. I think that the the new trilogy is second, and then the original trilogy is first for me. And yeah, I do like there's very few things in the prequel trilogy that I don't know. I know it's probably a lot of people, and I guess I was born in 1986, so I really was melding and into the books, into the like kind of like the Tales from series, Tales from
Hey,
Mos Eisley, Tales from Java's Palace, Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Shadows of the Empire, Jedi Knight 1 and 2, like Dark Forces, like all that stuff. I really got into it, and then once the prequel trilogy came out, it was just kind of like had nothing to do with any of that stuff.
right.
Uh, and
Well,
so,
yeah, I totally see what you're saying. And people who just showed up, hey, what's up, people? We're
hi,
talking about Star Wars right now.
I'm Andrew. I'm Brick's buddy.
Yeah. So I was just getting his thoughts on like the prequel trilogy, Star Wars trilogy. Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. Like, I think I've like gone back and forth over the years with like my feelings on the prequels because obviously I'm a millennial. I'm a little bit younger than you, and that was the trilogy that was coming out when I was like a kid. So, um, I mean, obviously, I like the original trilogy better, but I think on paper, like as I've gotten older, on paper, I like the story in the prequels. Like I like what he was trying to do, but I agree that definitely didn't translate on film. And yeah, he just tried so much, like with all of these special effects and like yeah, like Jar Jar Binks and stuff.
Yeah, and for people
You,
that are fans, of the prequel trilogy, I'd like to point out things that I do like about it. I like what things that I enjoyed about the prequel trilogy as someone who generally doesn't like it. I enjoyed that we got to see Coruscant. I really like that. I
yeah,
like that we got to see more of Coruscant. I loved in Clone Wars in the beginning when there was that chase scene through Coruscant, like spending time on some of the planets that we hadn't seen before. And Coruscant's one of my favorite planets that you never really get to see in the Star Wars universe, except for and it's very interesting, an entire city planet. Some of the stuff in the Ralph McQuarrie like illustrated universe of Star Wars book, like just really cool, really kind of stark, like kind of drawings or paintings of Coruscant and the various buildings. And I remember as a kid flipping through that book and just wanting to dive into those paintings. And so any opportunity to do that, which kind of brings me back to like something that I want to jump to later, which is that canceled Star Wars game, like that was supposed to be about Boba Fett. It was called like
yeah.
1313 or something, and I think that was going to be partially take place on
Well,
Coruscant.
yeah, we'll get into that too in
Yeah,
a bit. But I feel like there were so many things that they were gonna do with Boba Fett originally that never made it through the pipeline. Um, like, yeah, we'll talk about the show a bit if we have time. But I think that was supposed to be a movie originally, and I think that well, I mean, it's Disney, so we don't know how it would have turned out. But
I think that
on paper, I think a movie would have
right now, I
definitely
think after how Boba
better.
Fett got burned, with the show and everything like that, I think that the only way to really bring it back would be through a game. Like if they actually kind of resurrected that idea of telling. I loved the idea of him being young, kind of going bridging that gap between like when we saw him as a little boy, like hey dad, like or whatever, like kind of jump to him as a teenager after his
You'd be
dad was
down to
dead
see
for a
that
while. I'd
him
love
like
in a
kid.
game form. I think that'd be
Oh, and
great. Yeah, to kind of like start with him as just kind of like, and then to slowly start to build your Mandalorian armor up and be kind of like sort of start kind of scrappy, and then slowly become like this ruthless professional. And it's one of those games that I think that could be like a series of games. It could be a game that like has like three, like a trilogy, like the Batman Arkham games. If they did it right, I think that like people would eat that up. Only it
yeah,
blows my mind right now that
they're-
like Bounty Hunter, that Jango Fett game is the only game really
yeah,
besides like
yeah,
Battlefront or whatever where you can actually play with the jetpack and the laser guns. It's just like as like the in the Mandalorian armor, especially with the success of Mandalorian. Except for it's just like it's always like not who you want to be. You want to be Boba Fett, so like you got to be Jango Fett in that game, which is cool, but like it's like they're totally just like missing the money there for me. So,
well, yes, yeah. So to connect that back to the prequels and stuff,
okay.
I know other people like not everybody thinks of like the movies and canon in these terms, but like so regardless of like how you feel about the prequels, do you consider them like in your head canon? Do you still consider like that stuff happened, or
Um, that's a
do
good
you kind of
question. Yeah, yeah. I guess I kind of just I try not to because it's kind of a bummer for me. I guess I was thinking about it. That's a big thing for me is like Darth Vader in like when I was a kid before the prequels came out was
right?
so mysterious and scary. Same with Boba Fett, and it had a bad habit of like unmasking these characters that were
Yeah,
so creepy and making them way less threatening, making them way less mysterious, making them way less badass. And so no, I kind of don't. I liked the idea when it was like I didn't know what Boba Fett's face looked like. I didn't even know if he was a human or an alien. I didn't know
and
anything
his
about him.
voice, like
Yeah, and like I keep talking about Boba Fett. Obviously, it's like you can tell who I'm obsessed with, but big surprise there. But also with Vader, it's like okay, we did see his face in Jedi. I guess we did know that. We did see that. But also Anakin as a kid, like you could have like he could have been way more of a badass than he was. And Anakin in the movies is kind of in the prequels, Anakin is just such a
He's
like
kind
little
of
angsty bitch. I don't know, like,
yeah.
like, I mean, I guess
There
he's
were
kind of a
moments. There were some moments where I think probably in Revenge of the Sith, that's like his
yeah.
best version that we've seen in the prequels. He's a little bit, well, that whole movie, that's probably just the best one of the prequels. Like it was the best, um, or like the most well directed out of all of them. And but yeah, I don't think anyone like really needed to see Anakin as a kid, like in the first movie.
I
And
mean, yeah, that's kind of you don't want to see Darth Vader as a little as a kid unless that's a very difficult brushstroke to get right. I think and they didn't stick the landing on that. So I don't know. I feel bad for the kid that played him. I know he had a rocky life. That Jake Lloyd kid,
yeah,
he didn't do too well after that movie. But yeah, I don't think it was a good thing to explore. I mean, obviously everyone wanted to see this thing, but they never asked if they should see that side of Vader. And I don't know. I just think for me, it's like I don't want to think about when I see like even though it was just an apparition. When I see Vader like come to Luke on Dagobah and like turn his saber on, and it's just like before it's a dream or whatever. When you're just like, holy shit, here he is. This mythical, scary like fucking bad guy. You don't want to think about like Anakin Skywalker. Like you want to think about just this larger than life like mythical like evil. You
well, and
know.
that was one of the hardest things I remember. Like I said, I've gone back and forth over the years, like with how I accept, the stuff that happened in the prequels. But yeah, one of the hardest things for me to like reconcile in my head canon was like I can't picture this version of Anakin becoming Darth Vader. Like they don't seem like the same people, at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So no, I totally hear you on that. Um,
I think and then of other things that I did like from the prequels, though, I think something that was a really criminally underused like character was Darth Maul. I feel like Darth Maul should have been the main antagonist in the
yeah,
entire trilogy. I think he should have been like Vader. That's another thing is like if you look at like the original trilogy, something that I think worked that they totally abandoned, that Lucas abandoned, was Vader was the bad guy through the whole thing, and then Palpatine came into it and kind of added to it. But like, and then when Vader turned at the end, that was like a meaningful thing. But I
right.
think like getting rid of Darth Maul, like in the very first, by the end of the first one, he was introduced and then he's gone. And then like you got a new bad guy for the second one, a new bad guy for the third one. It's like they should have kept that through line. I think that would have been more
Yeah,
meaningful. And also, he was the most badass character in the whole prequel trilogy to me. Like, I think
definitely.
they didn't ever like hit that. That was a high point, a high watermark, and then they just they just like dabbled in it for like a second, and then never really hit that point again.
Well, and then they tried to bring him back in Clone Wars. Like, I don't know if you saw any of that, but I
Well,
thought
yeah,
that
and then
was,
he was in the Solo movie, right? Yeah,
yeah, that was kind of stupid. It's like because that's what I used to love about Star Wars. Like, if you were to compare it to Marvel and stuff, like when people die, they actually die. I mean,
like
there's Force ghosts and stuff on the good side, I guess, but like it's and then yeah, because in Marvel, like anyone can just come back. What you seen that?
yeah, that's funny. It's like we haven't even brought that up, but it's just
I know.
it's,
That's just the big thing going on right now. Uh,
is that what people do? They run around, jump around live streams, and just like spread the news or something like that?
yeah, probably.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, rip.
There goes. All right. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Go ahead. Post that the next live stream. What the fuck is that?
uh,
Oh, I love this. Okay. Anyway.
man,
Um,
yeah, let's see.
Darth Maul. Yeah.
And yeah, so have you seen? Let's. because I mean, yeah, we'll probably do this again. We'll get into more stuff, but I just want to make
Yeah,
sure we
we can jump
cover
to the
all
next
the
thing.
bases eventually. Did you have you seen like all of Clone Wars and then Rebels? I didn't. I honestly
No, honestly,
like.
I haven't seen the shows, the animated shows, really at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, there's in Clone Wars. There's like some stuff to get into, but then they did Rebels, which had like a couple moments too. Um, but overall, I didn't like that show because have you ever heard about like the whole world between worlds thing that they did in that? Do you know anything about that?
No, War Between Worlds. What's that?
It was well, like Ahsoka. Do you know who she is?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's like a big character in the animated stuff. She in Rebels, she like ends up dueling Vader, and he was, or she was his Padawan at one point. You know, so it's like
When
that
he
was
was Anakin or when he was Vader?
when he was Anakin.
Okay.
That was just an animated thing because she never appeared in the prequel movies or anything,
Right.
uh, which I always thought was a little bit weird too because they like I thought only masters like had apprentices, you know, but he was teaching her while he was like still learning himself. I don't know. I never really
Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind
was
of
into
weird.
all that.
That makes sense that that would be a weird you situation. Yeah. Um,
But anyways, they so she like one of the big culminating moments in Rebels was her fighting Vader, which was like her former master, you know,
mm.
and you'd think that Vader would just take care of her, you know, but
You mean killer or?
yeah, just because he's like fully dark side at that point, and like he's the most powerful, you know, like he's a villain. Let him be a villain, kind of thing. But then they did this whole world between worlds thing where she basically time traveled and ended up like in a different point after that, and she made it out alive basically when he
But
was
he was
about.
trying to kill her. There wasn't a
Yeah,
moment where they tried to play towards his light side and make him like hesitate or whatever.
there was like a quick second where he did that, like she called him by his name Anakin, you know. Um, but then he like went back to dark side and was like about to kill her, and then she like falls through this portal or something, and that was like the dumbest thing that they ever did. I thought like this just totally ruins. Um, I mean, I know you can do some crazy stuff with the Force, but that was like too far for me. Like time travel in Star Wars, you know. Uh,
Yeah. No,
what
yeah,
do you-
that's not a that doesn't really mix. Why would
yeah,
they bring time travel into it? That seems silly. Okay. Well, no. Other than that, I can't really speak on the animated series of the Star Wars universe. Only the
okay.
but yeah.
Well, then they just keep. I know, like, there's a lot of fans of Ahsoka and stuff, and she was a decent character for a while, but I feel like they just keep having her like tiptoe through
The
event
timeline.
timelines, yeah, so that she just keeps surviving. I'm like, can we get like some new characters at some point and just like it's probably
Okay.
time for her to
I got a question for you
retire.
to this. Let's say, what do you think for the next like series? Let's just say that you were given an opportunity to pitch a brand new character. What do you think the Star Wars universe needs right now that it hasn't seen or like hasn't like what would be refreshing right now? Like what kind of character? Like a smuggler, Han Solo type, a bounty hunter, a Jedi type? What do you think would sell right now and what people are wanting or based on everything they're already sick of and tired of?
Hmm. Well, yeah, that was sort of going to be part of my elevator pitch if we ever
Okay.
got to that, but
Yeah.
I think it's just like it all kind of depends on other things because Star Wars just isn't in a place where they have like an established like new timeline right now, you know, and like I think you don't necessarily need that. Like, people will say just make good movies and people will show up eventually. But I think when you're dealing with like franchises like this, you need like to establish certain things, so that people have stuff to like look forward to, and just feels like the sequel trilogy timeline is all messy and we don't really know what's going on. But if they were going to continue with the sequel trilogy timeline and kind of try and salvage that, I think we definitely need like a new Jedi academy or Jedi Order. Like they need to start building that up. Um, so I could see, yeah, them doing a movie about that. Um, well, yeah. Do you want to get into that elevator pitch? It can be like a back and forth, and like I can
Okay, so
introduce
you want to see like a Jedi Academy show where they build it up, the like and next like and as far as in the timeline, you want to see it be with the new trilogy, kind of to follow the new trilogy to go after that a new Jedi Academy type situation. I think what I'd like to see is I'd like to go back to like the classic, like I'd like to go back to the original trilogy timeline and see something with like stormtroopers. Like I'd like to just see a squad of stormtroopers like kind of go through kind of like a Band of Brothers thing, but with stormtroopers would be kind of cool. I think, and I'm not talking about like clone troopers. I guess they're all clone
Yeah,
troopers, but like the actual stormtroopers from the original trilogy. I think aesthetically for me, that's what I want to see. Even though
during the Empire era.
yeah, but even though the problem is like the kind of the thing about how they're idiots and they don't have any good aim, like that would have to be something that would be worked around somehow. I guess it was cool how they had like those elite stormtroopers from the clone troopers. Like I want to see that for the kind of the original trilogy, like that game that I can't remember, Republic Commando. Like was that game that was really popular with Commando Cody or whatever, and
Mm,
I don't know if he was in that game, but
right.
like those type of like celebrated like troopers. I want to see the classic trilogy, that stormtrooper look, and to have them do like a Band of Brothers type thing. That would be pretty cool. I think like to go
Yes.
kind of yeah.
Well, it's the whole like stormtroopers can't aim thing. That's such a funny thing because like if you go back to A New Hope, Obi-Wan, he's the one that's like only like when they're trying to figure out who like killed Luke's aunt and uncle, or
Right,
whatever.
right.
Um, he's like only stormtroopers are so
Oh
precise.
yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like I don't know if they were meant to like be viewed as horrible shots, but then that kind of just became. I mean, well, in all those movies, it's like they can't hit anything. So it's like, are they
And
good
George
shots
Lucas
or
always
not?
did say like I think the one thing he said when somebody asked him, I can't remember if it was Abrams or Ryan Johnson, or was like asked him for his advice, and he's like, he did his pitch, and then they were like, okay, well, maybe we'll stick to that, maybe we won't. But he's like, well, basically, all I want you to do is remember that these movies are for kids,
Right.
and here we are, like grown men talking about it. But
Yeah,
like, um, like I don't know. I feel like the
kids
thing
at heart.
is that was the part of it that was for kids, where it was just like, well, how are we going to have all these guys shooting at our main characters and no one gets hit? It's just like, well, we don't want, you know, obviously the
Right.
kids don't, we don't want the kids to lose their favorite characters or have the princess get shot or,
Well, that was
so,
that was one of the good things about the sequel trilogy. They kind of like the stormtroopers. You know, they were like taken a little bit more seriously. Like they could actually hit stuff.
in the new trilogy.
hmm They.
I can't even really recall any major. I guess yeah, there were some. The
I'm
new
just thinking.
trilogy was crazy. Like with like that first fight, I'm thinking in like Force Awakens, or I don't know if it's the first fight, but the one where like they go to the like cantina type thing, and what's her name, Maz, is like they meet the Maz character, and like and then they all get like, and then Finn tries to run away or whatever, and then like he gets brought back in because there's a big battle. It's just crazy. Like the fucking the X-wings come in and they're like shooting stormtroopers on the ground and stuff. Like,
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
that was sick, but it's just like, man, like, yeah, those battles are crazy. There's just so much. There's so much chaos and going on that like I can't even remember. I remember there was some cool looking stormtroopers with the flamethrower guy, but I don't remember if they were actually. Oh yeah, the weird like shock nunchuck thing, whatever
Mm.
the hell that was. Um,
Well, there was one. in like the opening scene when like Kylo Ren shows up and Poe, like he's trying to get some info out of somebody, and then he's trying to fly away in the X-wing.
Oh yeah, they
They
blast
like
him.
blow his up before he can get away. That's like the one thing I can think of where they actually hit something.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, it's funny. Like, I think my favorite that scene I love when Kylo Ren stops the like laser bolt, the laser blast, and it's just like floating in air. Like that's a great something I always like enjoy. Um, but yeah, that was messed up. They massacred all those guys. Yeah, they were pretty ruthless. That was a good kind of introduction to
Oh
say,
yeah,
and that was very much like speaking of like
firing
Saving Private
squawks.
Ryan, or kind of like looking at stormtroopers through the lens of like a war type
Mm,
thing. That was something that you got in that those first shots of like the strobe lights of them like in the drop ship, like kind of like right before they all you know unloaded onto the planet. So that was interesting. That was cool.
right.
Um,
Well, yeah, like aesthetically, and the thing like that I think the sequels are lacking the most is just like, well, like we were saying earlier with the prequels, it was lacking like originality, I guess. Um, but it like aesthetically, it was beautiful. The acting obviously was like way better than in the prequels. Um, and
yeah.
it did like the characters that it started to set up, like Force Awakens. Like everybody says that's just a New Hope remake, which it kind of is. But at the time when it came out, I I thought there were so many things that could have been sick, like that they could have done with those characters.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the terrifying thing about being put in charge of like thinking of a story like that is like thinking of all the possibilities and choosing which
right.
doors to go down or whatever.
Well, and there's yeah, I mean, just us talking, like there's so many different types of Star Wars fans. I imagine yeah, it would be hard to like zero in on figuring out what you think everybody's going to be into. Um, but like, yeah, Kylo Ren, I thought he was like he had a lot of potential. He's probably still the best, my favorite character from the sequel.
I think that's the most common favorite. Like everyone seems to be unanimous that Kylo Ren is some character the one character that they can agree like is a interesting and cool character from the new ones. And
Yeah,
aside from him, like I feel like Poe could have been cool, but he didn't really have any screen time the whole time.
Finn, I think the main thing complaint with him is that people thought he was going to end up being a Jedi, and they didn't really do anything with him.
He was just,
I
yeah. I
wasn't
mean,
see
he
that.
just kind of was a really. You didn't expect him to be the comedic relief character, and also that was also what Poe did. Like he would constantly make jokes. It was like it kind of was just around the time of Guardians of the Galaxy and that whole like kind of James Gunn humor like rising in in that kind of realm of movies. So I feel like when I first saw the Last Jedi and like it starts out with Poe like you know kind of going up to that Star Destroyer and he's just like doing a prank call or whatever. It's like it's this whole thing where like I'm not going to be intimidated in the face of this like really terrifying thing. Like I'm just gonna crack jokes and not be intimidated when I should be. That's like the whole thing that became famous in the Guardians of the Galaxies movies, where it's like Chris Pratt is like in front of some like, you know, like intergalactic like fucking badass and he's just like doing the Macarena or whatever the fuck he's doing. Like and it's just like stop doing that, like don't bring that into this like and also like have
Right.
one comedic relief character. Don't have like Poe and Finn and like, I mean I guess everyone can have humor, but like it's like let them do other things, let them be badasses too. I mean
Yeah.
clear Poe got to be a badass and you know, like Finn got to fall in love, I guess, or whatever. But like, it's just like,
Well, and
yeah,
even because then he gets and then he like kind of does his own thing, destroying that ship, and then he gets like scolded by Leia. Um,
yeah. That
I
was
even like I defended that for a while because I was like, okay, I think they're setting him up to take over Leia's position eventually, and I was like, okay, that's a good trajectory for him. And then, but then in the third movie, they like basically made him and Finn the same kind of role. And I
I
was
can't
like,
even honestly remember what. There's so much that happened in the third movie. I need to watch it again. I think I just saw it in theaters. Like,
that's definitely my least favorite one. But yeah, they made
yeah, there's
him
good
and
parts of it, but
what's that?
I know there's good parts of it, if what I remember. But like, I actually remember enjoying it. But I tried to watch it again, and I was just like,
Really?
whoa, this is like so much, like just jumping around so much. It was hard to. I still can't remember like what happens to all the characters. I just remember that Ray and Kylo kissed, and then he died, which I thought was stupid. It's like, why not just let them have their thing? You know, they should have just let that go somewhere. That would
Yeah.
have been. I guess they just felt like they couldn't let them have their cake and eat. I don't know. They just thought that would be too. Like, they don't want to be edgy and make him die. They were like, oh, he has to. I don't know. Like they just had to make him be like a pull a Jack in Titanic or something. Like he has to. It'll be more meaningful if we kill him off or something. But like
Well,
honestly, don't kill your most interesting character off. It's just like
have you seen any of the like interviews and stuff with Adam Driver where he like talked about what he thought his character? Because yeah, have you heard about
no.
any?
That's what did he say?
Well, he thought that or he had always said that his character was like the opposite of Vader, where like he starts out his most um let's see, am I getting this right? Um I think where he starts out like the most ruthless, and then as it goes on,
He
he
gets softer.
I think so.
I
I
mean, I can
might
see
have
that.
that.
He kind of did do that, but
Yeah, I guess he did. I might have that
I think
backwards.
Ray kind of melted his heart. Like he was trying to, you know, he was trying to like bring her to the, he was trying to like get her in on his thing, or they were having their own thing. And I think over time she was, yeah, just sort of like, bringing out the soft boy and everything like that. I don't know.
Well, I could have been cool with that too, like 'cause they doubled down on that. Like he's still evil as hell, but then in the end, he like decides to throw it all away. Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't even have to survive, but he just blows everything up because he's like in love with her or something. I don't know. I
Man,
could be down for
you just gave me an idea for my new elevator pitch because I feel like
that.
the war thing has been done with like Rogue One. So I was thinking that I think something that absolutely would be because the love in Star Wars has always been really like traditional, very like safe and like happy and like kind of like. But you know what I'd love to see is like kind of like your classic like crazy love story like all I don't know if you've ever seen like True Romance or Natural Born Killers or even Bonnie and Clyde or like what are some
True
other
romance, I have, yeah.
like what the fuck is the David Lynch one, Wild at Heart. But like if it was like Ray did turn or Kylo did turn Ray to like kind of make her like bring out some darkness in her, and they did like go on this weird road movie where it was like they were flying around the galaxy and like doing like kind of like kind of borderline morally like ambiguous like could be fucked up shit like if they really kind of obviously it's Disney, it's Star Wars, it's for kids, they can't do this, but I would love to see Kylo and Ray actually have this like kind of like almost like toxic, like scary, like relationship where they just went across the galaxy on this like crazy like because in like these love stories that are like that they're always on the road, they're always like driving like you said you did see what was it Natural Born Killers they were or
No,
what was
I
the one
haven't
you did
seen
see?
that one, but I've seen True
True
Romance.
Romance. Okay, so they're always driving across the country. They're always on the move. So like to see them, but then they'll be going through the galaxy. They'll be going to different planets. They'll be like kind of fucking shit up in like a intergalactic way, and like kind of just doing things because they love it, based on their love for each other. That would be really interesting. Like and to see how they're constantly battling between like she's trying to be like I think we're getting too evil and
Mhm.
kind of like just this
I
push and
see.
pull of like evil and good and between them and like also just this love thing this like incendiary like and to truly be kind of like an art film be kind of messed up that would be cool to have like a really cool art director do it like like and not have it be like this big stupid like try to please every audience thing like and
Mhm.
try to be super clean and I'd love to see like I think Star Wars needs to get fucking dirty, is what happens. It just needs to like get some. They really they
Well, that's
play with trying to get artsy. They play with trying to like push the borders, but they never actually go full, you know,
well,
simple
that's
Jack with it. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I totally hear you, and that's part of what I was saying with them just like never allowing Ahsoka to die. Like that's or Darth Maul, or that's like a recurring thing with. It's like, yeah, like you said, I know it's for kids, but I think kind of the definition of for kids has changed over the years. Like stuff definitely feels like softer than it used to be, even when it is for kids. I
yeah,
just um so like yeah, I wish they would actually do stuff like that, and yeah, like give a little
you
bit
can make stuff for
edge.
kids. Like the Star Wars universe is big enough to have everyone get what they want. It's just like that's what the rating system is for. And I guess it's something Star Wars. A kid is going to want to see it, even if it's for adults. So I understand that they kind of have to stay in their lane or whatever. But it's just a bummer because it's like it's not like only kids are interested in it. Like it's like
Right.
I think there are tons of kids now that are new fans of Star Wars, obviously, but like there are also hundreds of like grown adults that would love to that have like adult sensibilities and adult tastes, and they want to see the thing
Well,
that they
even
love represented in a way
yeah,
that's for them.
no, I agree. And even in the original trilogy, it's like, well, that's for kids too, right? But I mean, you don't see it
No,
happen.
it is, yeah.
But Luke's aunt and uncle get like vaporized. Um, you see some like people's arms get or dismemberments. You see
Mhm.
Obi
Yeah,
Wan chop off that bounty hunter's arm, and it's all bleeding stuff on the ground.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like, there were moments like that. Um,
Yeah. And it was more mature. Well, there wasn't. I mean, there was humor in it, but it wasn't like the same as it is. Like I don't know.
well, in the sequel, they didn't have like any. I don't think they had a single dismemberment. Not that you need that. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of a tradition. I thought.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, yeah, that's the annoying thing. It's like if you have a lightsaber, it's kind of like Wolverine having claws and not being able to like stab anyone, or like or what was I watching the other day where or was it something we were watching where it's just like, oh, like they have this badass weapon, they really can't do anything with it. Like, oh, I know, I was watching the 1990 Turtles movie, and it was just funny because you know Michelangelo can hit people with his nunchucks, and Donatello can hit people with his like bow staff, but like Leonardo, like it's just like he can't actually do anything with his swords because he can't cut anyone, he can't you know
Right.
but you never see him actually, he just swings and misses all the time, and it's just kind of funny. It's like that with lightsabers, it's like you can't, we want to be able to see people get shot. That would be another thing. It's like,
Well, ever since Disney took over, I mean, actually, Force Awakens probably had the most like violent uses of the lightsabers. But ever since, like in all the shows,
what was the violence in Force Awakens?
just when Finn gets like slashed up on his back
Oh
uh,
yeah,
by
yeah,
Kylo,
yeah.
like that sort of looked like he was bleeding and stuff. But other than that, like, because in all the shows, I would have to like tally up how many times it's happened at this point, but so many people have been like impaled by a lightsaber and they're totally fine now. So it's like,
Well, there was. I mean, and I didn't even think this was like very cool, but like I guess I gotta like give a tally for them for I think in Obi-Wan the show they hung that one Jedi guy or whatever, right? Like,
yeah,
but he was like
that
hung in
was
the most like pussy way I could ever see. It was just like he was like it was like not by his neck. It was like he was just like kind of tied up. Like I don't know. He was just suspended, and
right.
but yeah, I don't know if I was a fan of that show or not, but
Yeah, that I didn't, I wasn't super
that's a
into.
perfect example though of like how Vader, like, because they really tried to do the Anakin Vader there. Like you got to see him more as Vader, and like that fight between Obi Wan, it was just like, dude, it's Anakin. Like it's not. It's like that. I think there's a divide for me. Like James Earl Jones Vader and
Mhm.
Anakin Vader. It's like they're two different characters to me as far as I'm concerned.
And
Like,
they
they don't.
tried to, yeah, like they tried to meld it a little bit at the very end when he's like,
Can you imagine if Vader
uh,
sounded like Anakin? Like just like
yeah, that wouldn't really fit.
That's the whole problem. It doesn't fit. Like he should have been black. I don't know. I don't know. But, like, but I guess that wouldn't really work because Luke isn't. But maybe Luke's adopted. I don't know.
Oh,
Whatever.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Luke, since we're just going through all of them, we might as well. Um, yeah, what like were your overall thoughts of Last Jedi and like because the big
Okay.
thing with that is like the characterization of
Okay.
Luke. People thought that
Okay.
wasn't
Yeah.
that fit. What do you think?
So I think when I saw it, I actually like when I went to go see the Last Jedi in theaters. I had liked at that point. I didn't really like have any bad feelings about Force Awakens. I was like, that was solid. Let's keep going. Like
Right.
you know, I wanted to get better, and in my eyes, like it got worse. Like in my eyes, like um, I don't know. I was very disappointed in that movie. I don't remember. I remember just thinking it was terrible. But like I will say that and then of course all the stuff about Mark Hamill, like having strong feelings about like going against what Ryan
Oh,
Johnson wanted. Like I kind of was like, yeah, see, like they totally they totally messed it all up, and fuck Ryan Johnson and all this stuff. But I will say that I watched it again recently, um, and I was like, holy shit, did I just enjoy that? Because like I actually I'm way disconnected. Like I think there's just been it's been so much time. I was actually wrapped up in it then. Now I've kind of like cooled off on it and I watched it and I was like, you know what? Like actually Luke's got a badass story arc in this. Like he he has a lot of screen time. Yeah, and like there's a lot of great Mark Hamill
yeah.
moments. There's a lot of great lines. Um just I love when he's like, this isn't gonna go the way you think or whatever, like just and like that ending that end fight, with Ren is cool, like I
It is.
love I love the scene where Ren is just like having them with I don't know what they're called, AT whatever, like, the AT-AT type things
Yeah.
are like he's just like dumping on Luke, and he's just like more, and that's a great fucking scene. And it's
Pretty
just like
badass.
it's really cool. He's just still standing there as the dust clears, and then he just goes in there, and like I loved that. I was like on the second approach, after I kind of like got over my like fanboy shit, I was like, you know what, this isn't a half bad movie. Like it's actually you know I can enjoy the new trilogy now that I've accepted this. It is what it is.
Yeah,
But
I'm more or less of the same mind with that. Like, yeah, I went back and forth with it. I still remember when I came out of the theater, um, because I think going into it, I was like, please just don't kill off Luke, you know.
yeah,
And
right.
when I came out of the theater, I was like, what the fuck was that? Then after a while, I was like, because then you just try and imagine the trajectory, and it's like a compounding thing. You're like, okay, well, if I guess I can accept that he's dead, but if he's a force ghost in the third one and he's like training Ray, then I'll be cool with it, you know. But then you get to the third one and he's like in it for 2 seconds, you know. So that was the only thing I was like, I can totally accept this if he's still gonna be like a like a character in the story, or at least have a substantial
Well, that
part.
brings me to the biggest fallacy in all of the whole new trilogy. The reason why I was so mad about it the entire time was because, and I told you this before, but I'll say it now that we're on live stream, is like when I saw the trailer for The Force Awakens, and I heard that like even before the trailer, when it was just it was announced that like Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, you know, what's the guy Mayhew or whatever, the whole original cast
Yeah.
were going to be coming back for the most part.
Oh,
I was
CP.
just like, I don't know what the fuck this is gonna be, but all I know is like that I'm gonna see like 3PO, R2, Chewie, Han, Luke, and Leia like in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, like
At
on their
least
way
one
to
scene.
another adventure. At least,
Right.
yeah. All I know is like we're gonna be reunited with our like family in the fucking Falcon on our way to another adventure. That's all I knew for sure, and that's all I cared about. I was like,
That's
I don't know what this is going to be, but all I know is I'm just so stoked that there's no way that that's not going to happen. and that didn't happen. Just like what the fuck? I was just like, how do you not get that right? And the way they kind of parsed
This isn't
every
gonna go the
character
way you
out,
think.
it was very yeah, it wasn't go the way I think. Yeah, yeah, the way that they kind of just it just felt like a weird like business model like strategy. It was like okay, like we'll just squeeze all the life out of Han like in the first one, and then we'll just like it was like they were like it was like they thought it was like chewing gum. Like it's just like we can't put all the sticks of gum in our mouth at the same time. I don't really know what the fuck their thought process was, but it was idiotic. They should have brought them all together for at least the first one. Then you can kill off whoever the fuck you want, but like let them have their moment,
Right.
Like, and I
Yeah.
think that even as like the actor, it's like it was just a crime against like pop culture in general, like the biggest thing in pop culture, just to like be like, let these people reunite and like be in this, like give them a scene, give them one fucking scene at the
At
very
least.
least, you know.
Well, and obviously, like the tragic passing of Carrie Fisher after the second movie, I'm sure that derailed things. But the way they tried to like include her in the third movie with like scenes that they had shot from Force Awakens,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
messy. I was like, I would even take a recast or a deep fake over this, honestly, because like her scenes just were so weird. Or even like, why'd you have to make her Ray's teacher? You could have just had Luke be doing that, you know? Like that probably would have made more sense because he had his like
I,
redemption.
I
Yeah.
like let's just take a minute though and imagine the like total like I can't even imagine like especially at that point. I feel like it was like because you got to put yourself in the moment like for like the Last Jedi. It's like they have to make this movie. They made the first two. They're
Mm.
already on the roller coaster ride, and it's derailed. It is like the
No, I know.
the fans are like literally like losing their minds, like death threats. This is on the biggest property of all time, and it's just like,
Right.
and now you got to sit down and like try and write a story. And I'm not even like gonna even pretend like anything that like J.J. Abrams actually wrote like didn't get completely chopped to pieces anyway. It's like this is probably getting looked at and dissected, and Disney isn't just like, oh, do what you want, Like we're not really like our money isn't riding on this one. It's like they are like zeroed in on this. Like
Mhm.
every like thing, every single word on the script is like being like ran by with a fine tooth comb by like 10 different people or hundreds of people, And it's just like I can't
Well,
even imagine what it was like to try and make that movie. Uh, and the fact that it was like a perfect I'd love to just look under the hood of that whole experience and that whole like situation and just like see
definitely.
like what actually took place during all of that. And
Well, and
yeah, I'm sure it was a nightmare.
yeah, no, I agree. And to that point, because I know that because at that point the Solo movie had come out and kind of flopped, and I remember Kathleen Kennedy. She said
And I
that
like the solo movie for what it's worth.
it's okay, yeah.
Yeah,
There's nothing,
I've had fun with it.
but I remember after that came out, she said like the lesson we or Bob Iger, he's the CEO of Disney. They were like the lesson we learned from that is to never recast like the legacy characters. So I'm sure that was in their heads after they lost Carrie Fisher. Um, but I don't necessarily think that was like the right lesson they should have learned from that movie because I don't think that was like really the reason that movie didn't do well. You
I
know?
think that yeah, they weren't looking at the right factors. I think to be like, oh, this is the takeaway. I think you just got to keep rolling the dice with these things. And I think the important thing is just I don't know. I feel like every time they made a decision, they would be like, okay, we're just gonna try and give it to a director that has a vision and let them run with it. And then Last Jedi came out and everyone crucified Ryan
Right.
Johnson, including me. Um, you know, but and then they were like, okay, scratch that. Let's just give the fans exactly what they want. Um,
Right.
and then Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker came out, and that one even got even more panned. And then I think they were like, you know what, just no Star Wars stuff for 10 years. Like they were just like, turn it all off. And
Pretty much.
or I guess they were like, Mandalorian's doing good. Let's stick with that, you know. And then they were like, let's just do the shows for a while. And then like they bust out like the Acolyte and like Ahsoka and like and then no one's looking anymore. And they're like, okay, we got to just get back to the drawing board, you know. What do you
When
think the
you
next movie is going to be? I mean,
right, and
I think they announced something. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
you might think differently about this, and I mean that's fine. I'm kind of the mind that there's like certain, well, it's like a case to case basis, but or case by case basis. But with Star Wars, I don't really think they should have done any shows really, like live action ones. Um, I mean, I love Andor,
I
but
still need to see finish the first season and watch the second, but
really,
I liked it when I saw.
well, yeah, that show is pretty great. But it also, I know it costs them more than like it costs to make a movie. So it's like I don't really think it justify. I'm just speaking of like I'm trying to put my business hat on. You know, I don't think it overall justified um, the spend for that show. But like Star Wars is just such an epic like kind of IP and franchise, you know? Like I just
Mhm.
don't think it works the same on a TV budget per se. Like as far as live action goes, I think they can the animated stuff is fine. They can just play in that sandbox and it's fine. Um, so yeah, I kind of think that just going the TV route with a lot of these characters and stuff probably wasn't the best call.
They made a lot of terrible calls in the beginning. I think another huge, going back to like, I think games would be a good platform, but they made that ridiculously shitty call to give EA exclusivity over, like, first of all, disbanding LucasArts was a big mistake. Um, like, they didn't give a shit about, like, they should have looked at, like, how much, how cherished, like, LucasArts as a company was for all the games that they'd made,
Right.
um, and, like, added to their roster. Like, you know, give them more power, and also if you wanna see other bigger companies, like, well, let them merge in there, you know, like, don't just, like, fire them all and, like, cut all their projects, you know, which, you know, was that 1313 game that got cut from that, that
13.
Boba Fett game that
Oh,
never came out. Which honestly, like, I mean, it would have been cool. I'll never know, but it seemed like Uncharted, but like Boba Fett, basically, which is and on like Coruscant, which sounds pretty fucking cool to me. But yeah, I mean, I still think that they can do that. I still think they should do that. But the EA thing, it's just like EA is not a good. I mean, I think they had a lot of great companies like Dice that did the Battlefront game, and I guess what is it Respawn that's doing those Jedi Outcast and Jedi Survivor game. But I think they're getting really good companies. But like I don't know, I don't really know if EA has to be affiliated anymore. But it seems like um, that was a bad call. But
on that Outlaws game, kind of
haven't.
like fart in the wind.
I definitely have a that brings me a bone to pick where it's just like why in every Star Wars game right now do you have to have like a stupid little sidekick that like fall a stupid little cute sidekick that follows you around? I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want like I want at least make it optional. You know, like
Yeah,
it's like the droid and like the Jedi games, and then now that little like whatever the creature. It's just like, how about not having that? You know, like I don't know. It's just like it's just
that
why like
feels kind of like a
really
corporate
annoying.
mandated thing. They're like, oh, we know that cute little creatures and droids sell merch and stuff, so you need to make every character have like some little buddy like that. I can see that.
That was a big problem with me with Last Jedi was those stupid porgs like pissed me off like uh really bad. I really want the part where Chewie is like gets like self conscious about eating it. I want to see him like you see them like all like I would have loved instead of him like trying to eat that thing and they're all like ooh like getting all sad like at the next scene there's just like a whole like bunch of them getting roasted, you know,
Bunch
like
of
they're just
like
eating it, just like, gets annoyed and just, you know. But you know, Chewie's
that's
a lovable guy. I guess they got to him. But
well, and that's kind of how. I mean, this is a longer topic, I guess, that we could probably save, but I sort of have that issue with the whole Grogu thing. because
Oh yeah, yeah,
he's like his merch and stuff is super popular,
yeah.
but I almost feel like that whole
The same demographic that likes Grogu is the same demographic that likes the Baby Grinch from like the Jim Carrey movies. Like you ever seen? I feel like they're the same character. Like this cute little green guy. You know, like anyway, I don't know why that's just a funny. They're both like memes. They're both like
yeah.
meme worthy, like cute, like images. But honestly, Grogu, like, don't really care about him. I think he's annoying. Like, I
I
don't want to
liked him
see.
at the beginning, but then I was like, "Are you just so you're just gonna keep him as a baby, like, and you're just gonna keep making shows and and movies, and he's just gonna be a baby?" I mean, I know like the Yoda species they age super slow, but it's like, why don't you fast forward to when he's like an adult and see what that's like? You know, that I could be into that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I
Because
don't know
then
what it is about him. I mean, it's just like yeah, it's a fun idea, but
have you
uh,
have you seen all of the Mandalorian seasons?
yeah, and that's a really weird thing because like I think I was most into it in the season two, especially, and that was a totally weird thing that happened with the Boba Fett character when he came into it. I was never more into. That was the most into Star Wars I've been since it came back. You
Right.
know, was that episode where fucking Boba Fett shows up and gets his armor back, and it's just like we're wrecking stormtroopers, like you
Yeah.
know, like just being ruthless and being a badass, and you're like, holy shit! And then it's like there's gonna be a show too, and then like, yeah, they just totally forgot about the character that was in that episode and made a whole new like, you know, guy who doesn't wear his helmet half the time, is completely open to getting headshotted from high ground all over the place, and like just like is like spiritual and like it's just like it's kind of like I don't know.
And
They,
instead
they
of
already did that with like that pisses me off because like Mandalorian was like, okay, well we can't use Boba Fett, so let's make another bounty hunter that looks just like him, but make him
exactly,
like kind of spiritual and soft. And then they were like, okay, and let's just do that to Boba Fett too now. Like it's just like, why don't you just let Boba Fett be Boba Fett? I mean, you already have Mando doing
well,
that.
that was I was gonna say that's like kind of one of my. I mean, it's not really a conspiracy. I think there's a lot of evidence to it, but that's what I was thinking too. Is like they, for whatever reason, they didn't want to use Boba Fett, or they couldn't. Like when they created the Mandalorian show, I don't know. But they were like, yeah, let's basically make a Boba Fett ripoff, and then once he got super popular, they were like, okay, well, we want to bring Boba Fett too back, but we don't want him to. Now we need to change him because we already made
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Mandalorian into Boba Fett essentially. Because he had like the same. Remember, he had that rifle in the first and second season that like disintegrated.
Tell me
He
if you think because I might have heard
that
that.
was
Tell me if this is a rumor that you heard too, because I think that like his name is skipping my mind right now, but I know the creator of Mandalorian, who
Favreau.
made Favreau, yeah. So like I think he wanted to make a Boba Fett show originally, and like I don't know if it was like Kathleen Kennedy or whatever. I think she gets all the heat, but like someone was like, no, we're not like Boba Fett isn't going to sell, and then he was like, all right, fine, I'll just make a not Boba Fett show, you know. And then like yeah, and then so he did that, and they were like, oh wait, this is selling. Like yeah, bring Boba Fett back. And it was like, well, this guy already kind of took his place, so what are we gonna do, you know? But
Yeah,
they should have just made him even more badass than
I totally believe that. Well, and then they changed his costume too. Like
yeah,
gave him a new paint
yoga
job.
pants and yeah,
Yeah,
turned
and
into like a
his his like crotch armor piece. Did you notice that, Boba Fett? He
no,
always
maybe that's a Robert Rodriguez nod though, because I know Robert Rodriguez. Did he have like a gun in his crotch or something?
wait, what?
What was the crotch armor? The crotch armor. Okay, so I was just thinking you said he had a weapon. No, armor. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it was just because that was part of Boba Fett's Empire look. He always had that armor piece like in that crotchal region, you know. But then when he gets out of the Sarlacc, he's just missing that only that piece of armor, and then he never got it back. It's like
Huh.
that just fall off in the Sarlacc, like
Maybe. Well, I mean, you think that he'd replace it though. I mean, it seems kind of important, but
right?
I mean, that show was such a like a tough situation. That show was like reliving my trauma with the prequels because it was like something that it was like this thing that I knew should be good, and I'm watching it and I'm just like like trying to convince myself that it's good the whole time, and then it ends and like it takes a while, and then I'm like that wasn't good. You know, I'm like, oh no, like that was terrible. And
Uh,
the whole time, all I wanted, similar with the sequel trilogy, the whole time I was just like it was a similar thing. I'm like, oh yeah, Boba Fett show, cool. I mean, like he's going to be being ruthless. He's going to be taking bounties. He's going to be the most rudimentary thing, using his jetpack and shooting people with lasers. You know, he didn't do that until the very last episode of the show, and then it was over. And now they're probably never gonna like, you know,
and he never even left Tatooine. Like he hardly flew his ship, and he has like the dopest ship
not a single bounty.
ever invented ever. Like, are you serious?
It's stupid. And the thing that blows my mind too is it was Robert Rodriguez who I was like,
Right.
I trusted because I love Desperado. Like I grew up watching the Antonio Banderas Desperado movie, thinking like, okay, this is perfect. And then he totally shit the bed. I'm wondering what happened if he got I don't know if somebody told him that he like you know made him do
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
I probably wouldn't blame him for
I
all
do.
that
I'm
because
paying.
well, and oh man, what was I gonna say? He um yeah, there was just so much in that show that day.
The
Like,
Power Rangers episode with like those like guys on the swoops, like those like stupid teens, like the like that was so bad.
well, and
There's
they never,
so much of that show that I was just like, oh god, okay, next episode might be good. I just like, and then I remember I was like, maybe the next episode, and then the next episode didn't even have Boba Fett in it. Like there was like a Boba Fett episode
right.
where it was just Mandalorian the whole time, and it was like Boba
That,
Fett wasn't even in it. They were like, it was like even the writers were just kind of like shitting on it, and they were like, you're watching an episode of the Boba Fett show that's episode of Mandalorian actually.
well, and that's like how you can tell. Oh yeah, I remembered what I was gonna say. But
Okay.
that exactly like him not even being in an episode. That's how you know that the entire concept for the show was wrong from the beginning because even the writers were like, we don't even have this much material for Boba Fett based on this premise of the show. But like if it was a show where he was just like off world, like going on missions, like what if he was just on a revenge, um,
Yeah,
like he
that would
pissed
have been so badass. Yeah.
left him in the Sarlacc or whatever.
Yeah, just trying to get whoever was responsible or
Yeah, like you don't need that's like more than enough material. Each episode he's like going after somebody else or he's like going to a different planet or whatever. Like
yeah,
you can
using the
tell,
slave one. Oh yeah, and then they didn't call it the slave one. You couldn't call it that anymore. What was it called?
right?
The Spitfire or some shit or
Fire spray. It's so stupid.
yeah. No.
Um but yeah. One more thing. Yeah, because I don't know if you know about like all the different writers and people involved in this stuff, but I started really noticing problems when, because Jon Favreau like created the show, the Mandalorian show, but then I think after season one, Dave Filoni really got involved, and I've like never really been into his stuff. He's the one that's like done all the animated stuff, um,
Okay. Yeah.
and I just feel like as soon as he got involved, he started injecting all of his like Clone Wars characters and stuff into it,
Hmm.
and I was like, now this just doesn't feel like the Empire era Star Wars anymore. It feels more like the prequel stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think?
No. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I can't. I still have to stand by the fact that like I don't know who was responsible for bringing back Boba Fett into the Mandalorian show in season two. But that for me, and it was season two also that ended with like the super like trooper super like kind of dark troopers and like Luke coming back, right? Like that season had a good arc to it, but like
Def-
but I don't know. The third season I will say like by the end of it was like all that stuff was happening with all the Mandalorians and and it was just they were all coming together and they were in that like I don't, it was it just became I lost interest so hard on that. I don't know what happened, but I just was like, "Oh, is this the last episode?" "Oh no, there's another one. Oh, that was the last episode. Okay." It was like when you don't even know that it's the finale yet. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just like felt like it was really under.
They just kept. They also kept reversing things that they had set up previously that were actually cool. Like um, with Grogu like going away to train with Luke. You're like, okay, this makes total sense. Like Luke
Right.
has built his Jedi order at this point, so it makes total sense that Grogu's going to go away with him. But then immediately he's back in the next season, so that almost felt like a
Yeah.
mandate too. It's like, oh, kids love Grogu. We need to sell more merch. So you got to
Another fatal error I think is, I don't know. I think that it was kind of weird that, like, I don't know. I think people probably get confused because Mandalorians aren't synonymous with bounty hunting, but he was a guy that was wearing Mandalorian armor and a bounty hunter, in the beginning of the show. So you kind of like, I don't know. I feel like that slowly Mandalorian was a bounty hunter, like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I feel like that slowly just like stops being the focus of the show, and like the bounty hunting kind of like went away, and that's what everyone. For me, that was a huge hook. It was just like, this is cool, like, and
Yeah.
also another, I think, fatal error was like not bringing his ship back when he destroyed it, like getting the kind of Naboo fighter, the silver Naboo fighter instead, and like putting
Yeah.
Grogu in the little pod. It's like that was cute and it was cool, but like that's like that can be his little like daily drive around town driver. But like when he's like going on like a intergalactic journey, they need the fucking Razor Crest or whatever.
Razor Crest.
That was a cool ship, and they shouldn't have blown it up. Like that's like blowing up his Millennium Falcon. It's just like, I don't know. They did a
Well,
lot of weird things.
yeah, and I was saying earlier, he in those first couple seasons, remember he had that rifle that like disintegrates people, and that's what Boba Fett had his first appearance, like in that
Oh right, yeah, I remember that has that kind of like pitchfork type. That kind of,
right.
yeah,
But then he just like it was either in the second or third season he just didn't have it anymore, and it's like, well, what happened to that? Was it just too OP and they had to like get rid of it? I thought that was kind of weird.
yeah. I mean, I get that like they would like he'd have different weapons, but anyway, yeah, it's there were a lot of things I liked. I liked that they brought the IG droid, even though it wasn't IG-88. Like, and I thought it was cool how like he had a little like they ended up modifying him so Grogu could drive him like a mech suit. Because I remember thinking like, okay, so Grogu's gonna be a badass. He's gonna like fight people and stuff. But how are they gonna avoid what they did? They ended up doing with Yoda in the Clone Wars movie. Like
Right.
because that wasn't working for me. Like that was not really. How do you go from like Yoda in like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and then like you can't, and then like see what they did. Oh, he's young, so he's gonna be like hopping around. I don't know. It's just it was goofy, man. I don't
Yeah.
know. I get that it seems like sure that's what he might do, but
Well, and once they started pivoting, like you were saying, the bounty hunting stuff, I think that's what pulled a lot of people in. And once they started pivoting to more like Mandalorian lore and stuff,
right,
I thought that was cool too. But um, it was weird though because like the whole dark saber thing.
yeah,
Um, Din Djarin ended up with it, but then in the third season, um, Bo Katan became like a much bigger character, and it almost
yeah,
felt like they were just handing like the show over to her at one point. Like he was like, "Oh, I don't want this, or I'm not worthy of the dark saber, or I'm not meant to lead," and then he was like ready to just give it to her. I was like, I don't know, that felt a little
that was yeah. That kept passing the baton or the dark saber or whatever. I'm curious though because did you turn comments off because of all the like stuff that was going on down there?
no,
We've had like one steady viewer for like the past like half hour or something like that. I'm curious, like if they have any comment on what we're saying.
right.
Um,
Well, did
yeah,
at one point we had like over 20 for a second.
Yeah. For a second, I think people kind of came and went, but I'm curious, like, yeah, like who our secret mystery viewer is,
All right.
um, and if what we're saying is interesting at all. But
Well,
yeah, no,
I'm sure if we keep this going, or we keep doing these, we'll probably get more eventually.
yeah,
And got to
we
get
might.
up too.
Yeah, maybe you could. I'm getting low on battery, so I should probably wrap it up
Yeah,
soon. But yeah, I would be down to do it again, and I don't know. Maybe we could post this and see if you'll like it. I don't know,
yeah. I
something.
public.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of things that I just kind of touched on that I would love to talk more about too, and or that
Definitely.
we touched on. Um,
Yeah, I
but
still got my elevator pitch for
okay,
how to save Star Wars. We can do that next
why don't you like just kind of set it up as a cliffhanger or something like that? Do you have?
time. um. Well, yeah. I mean, basically, we sort of touched on it, but I have like I try and put my business hat on in these cases because so I have this pitch or these ideas for how I think they could salvage the just the whole Star Wars franchise in general and the sequel trilogy era because I think ultimately, um, I mean the Empire era that's probably always going to be the most popular era, and I would want to keep seeing stuff in that era too, but I think to bring in new fans and like build up hype over time, you
Mhm.
need to like focus on one timeline that's like current, so there's like actual stakes and stuff,
Oh right. So it'd
um
be after the new trilogy,
yeah, pretty
the
much.
most updated, the most recent, I guess, the latest, right?
Yeah, so that's what my overall pitch is based on,
So
just
you're
like
saying like look at the whole Star Wars timeline and try and like what's the next thing on the timeline kind of thing.
pretty much. Yeah,
Okay. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to brush up on the timeline to kind of answer that question and think about it. But maybe
sweet.
yeah, we could start the next one of these if we decide to bring it back. I guess maybe I don't know. I don't know how this format works enough to be like people need to ask for this or something. But obviously, there's may or one viewer needs to say something. Uh,
Right.
but no, yeah, I'm down to do it again, and I'm down to start with that or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're down, I'm down.
Yeah, I'm just
what do you think about doing this format? Like, um,
this works. Yeah,
would you want to try in person?
yeah. So for our two viewers here, we were thinking about maybe doing this where we're in the same room because we are basically like in the same neighborhood and could do like a sort of sitting at a table side by side in the same room. I guess it really doesn't make any difference, really. You know, it's kind of just for
I
you and I though. Maybe it would feel cooler. I don't know.
Yeah, it could. I
Yeah,
do like your background though. Like maybe
yeah. Yeah, we could put some Star Wars stuff up, or I got some sweet posters or something. Or
that's just a good backdrop though. I need
you could
like
come here. We could do it here. I don't know. We
yeah.
could try
Um,
different places.
well,
Cool.
if people want to sub to your channel too, what's your
Oh,
is it just your name or what?
yeah, it's just my name, Andrew L. Peru, I think. But I don't think really there's anything to see on my channel. It's just like some playlists I made, nothing Star Wars related or anything. I don't think I don't really have any content. Really.
Right.
Um,
You could
just
always
a
do
guy.
just a guy. Well,
Yeah,
you could always do streams on your channel at some point. I don't know.
yeah. Maybe this will inspire me to actually start putting some stuff on my channel. But
There you
yeah,
go.
I definitely could do reviews of a bit about me. Like I'm an avid collector of uh, VHS records, action figures, video games, records, 8 tracks. Like I could definitely review some stuff. I could do some, random food reviews and movie reviews. Oh, I collect 4Ks. I could review physical media, recent physical media. I have some good pre-orders right now. The new Tron and Tron Legacy Disney just released on 4K. It's a pretty hot commodity. I just pre-ordered Jacob's Ladder on 4K. Bit about what I'm excited about right now. So
Sweet. Well, yeah, Star Wars is probably the thing that we can talk the most about.
Mhm.
But because I'm also into like Marvel and some other stuff. Are you into like anything else that you would?
Oh yeah, I can talk Marvel comics. What I have collected a lot, and I actually want to start reading more. But the characters I like are kind of random. Like you saw that I have my complete '90s run of was it Deathlock or
Oh yeah, that
Deathlock and Punisher, War Journal, the early Punisher stuff. Like what was some other ones? I like some early Iron Man.
Spider
Love
Man.
Wolverine or Logan or Wolverine, and what was some other things that I was kind of getting into, dabbling with. I like some of the very few. Like a lot of times, I go based on the artwork, so it's just kind of like there. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the artwork for the Star Wars comics, it's not great, but I love the Dark Empire book
Oh
one
yeah,
and two. I think those are really cool looking. They kind of just sketchy, kind of cool. And you know how I feel about like there's speaking of Boba Fett again. Um, he kind of has been stiffed in the comics. Like you think that he have some great ones out there, and there are some great books. But I think that the best comic that I showed you when you came over, I think it came with like one of the Kenner toys from the '90s, like when they brought back the Power of the Force line, and
oh
they
yeah.
were releasing comics.
Check.
Um,
I got
oh, nice,
the original. It's like the remake Kenner one that they
that's
did.
cool.
It's pretty sick.
That is sick. That is sick. Yeah, I think I had that figure loose, but
Oh, you do.
yeah, I feel like he's almost perfect, except for he needs ball joints on his like thigh joint because having those be straight cuts, it's just kind of like it's weird for he can't have any like wide stances, and that kind of bugs me.
That,
I'm a fucking nerd when it comes to action figures.
well, that's how
Yeah,
I am with Lego.
I'll give you guys a little tease for the stuff that I'm nerdy about. 1 second. So here's this is sci-fi and it's cool and it's but here's like so Starship Troopers, which I'm sure a lot of people know about, which is the Paul Verhoeven movie, with like Michael Ironside and I don't know the aliens and the bugs or whatever. Well, that actually was originally a book by Robert Heinlein, but also that book they did a anime series on it in the '80s and had these like power suits. And this is a figure that I got recently who's very kind of niche figure, but I just really love this power suit. He's got kind of like this thruster, very well articulated. He's got some webs on him, but yeah, he's just really badass. This like power suit from
That's cool.
yeah, it's just a pretty like obscure figure, but I like definitely thought about buying this for a long time. I spent way too much money on it, but it's got pieces of real die cast in it. Great paint job, great articulation, and just a really cool kind of nod to something that a really niche, weird, obscure thing. So anyway, that's there's more where that came from. I could definitely start doing some cool figure reviews. I got a lot of that kind of stuff.
Sweet.
Other comics that I've been reading right now too. I just picked up one that I think was like from the early 2000s by Darwin Cook. The DC. I think it's called The New Frontier or something like that. Like I have it lying around here. If I could just. Oh, I think it's right here. Yeah. Oh, got it. Got all bent up. Um, really beautiful artwork on this, and really like compelling story. I'm not a big. It takes me a long time to actually catch on to a lot of things, but you might recognize.
That's a cool
It's
cover.
yeah, and it's got like his artwork is really good, just really sick. It's just all the DC characters. It's thick book, and but yeah, like it starts out. It's just I don't know. I can't say enough good things about this. Here's like Lois Lane. I think just looking. Hold on, looking just like really good.
Dang, yeah, that is sweet.
Yeah, just I love just like I'm a stickler for artwork, and his art is just it's got that kind of like 50s 60s kind of like the animated series Batman animated series kind of look, but
Yeah,
like just the girls look so freaking good. Everyone looks great. Honestly, it's just it's a real page turner, and it starts out with like I don't know. It has all these nods to old stuff. I don't even really know how to. I don't know enough to talk about this, but I will say the New Frontier. This is something I read right now. It's really cool.
Well, dude, a little homework. Well, yeah. So I still gotta have you over. I just
Yeah.
want to collect some of my stuff, and then homework. See if you can find us a movie. It could. Well, it doesn't have to be something that you own. Just like a classic that you haven't seen yet, and then
Oh, okay.
let's watch that.
Okay.
What do you
Okay.
think?
Yeah. 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 Because I keep on inviting him over and making him watch movies that I've seen that he hasn't seen. Um.
I'm still
So
gonna watch
far,
Zodiac.
yeah. So far, we've gone down the David Fincher rabbit hole. So we
Yeah.
watched Seven, we watched Zodiac, and we watched Silence of the Lambs. And uh, but yeah, can't remember. Oh, I thought you were going to say like bring up some like kind of some classic like comic book movie adaptations. There are a couple from that I haven't really watched for a long time, but I think would be fun to review, like the '80s Punisher movie. Have you heard of that one?
I don't think I've seen
Dolph
that. That
Dolph
just
Lundgren
yeah,
plays
yeah.
the Punisher.
I don't think I've actually seen that one.
Okay, cool. And honestly, I don't remember it, so I don't know if that counts. But then there's also around the same time they did a Captain America movie. And this is actually a full circle thing right here. We can end on this because then, like after the kind of like semi success of that, they tried to do a Fantastic Four movie, which was by Jeff Corman.
Yeah, and that one never came out, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just
I don't know if it was Jeff Corman, Robert. I might get the name wrong, but anyway, yeah,
I
it never came out. But they did come
oh
out with a Flash movie, a Flash show. Like it was the Flash, and it was in the '90s. And Danny Elfman did the theme song. It kind of was just a total like Batman theme ripoff, kind of. But the funny thing is, the show didn't really catch on. You can't really get it from what I've seen. But there are two VHS tapes that like I think the pilot, and then like just a random episode with a random bad guy called the Trickster. But the Trickster
yeah,
is played by Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you're talking about the CW show.
yeah, the Flash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw.
Yeah,
I was like super into the first couple seasons of that.
really? Okay,
Same with Arrow too. I used to be
but this
super.
was like in the '90s, right? This is like it was like old.
Um.
It was like before he was Joker in like Batman the animated series because
Oh, so he was like when he was on the CW show. That was
I
reprising.
don't think it was CW because it was like this is I'm talking about like 1991 or something
Well,
like
because
that. Like
that's okay. I didn't know about that because he played Trickster in the CW one too.
live action.
Yeah.
That's really confusing, huh? Well, we'll have to
But
we'll have to.
just real quick though, that Fantastic Four movie.
Uh-huh.
I've seen some of it on like one of the guys that I watch who streams. He like watched it live once, so I was like watching it on a stream. Um, because there's versions out there that you can find apparently of it. Um, so it's but yeah, there was some stuff in it that I didn't think was too bad.
Really? So it wasn't as bad as they say.
Yeah, I remember Doctor Doom in it being kind of cool, but
That's
there's
cool. Yeah, I remember the Doom suit being cool. I had a trailer. I saw the trailer for it. That's all I really saw. But yeah,
I could be.
we still got our trusty viewer here. Is there a way to see who they are? I'm just so curious. Like,
I don't think so. Um, yeah. Thank you to the
yeah,
work.
whoever you are, thank you for sticking with us. This is you're giving us inspiration to do this again. But cool.
All right, dude.
I
Yeah.
guess we can. Yeah, my phone's literally about to die.
Hey,
You're getting all quiet. So I guess let's just call it here.
well, good
All
shit,
right. See
dude.
you later. Signing
Yeah.
out.
Talk to you later. Yeah. All
Yep.
right, man.
Bye.